I'll never forget that Thursday night, because it started out feeling like a victory lap and ended like something out of a twisted courtroom drama. I had just closed a massive deal at work, the kind of deal that comes with a fat bonus and that quiet nod from the senior partners that tells you you've arrived. I drove home with the windows down, soul music from the 70s, flooding the car, already daydreaming about putting in the stone patio I'd been planning for years. My house, my pride and joy, stood waiting at the end of a tree-lined street. 2 stories, brick facade, a patch of lawn I paid a small fortune to keep manicured. It was supposed to be my sanctuary. I parked, grabbed my briefcase, and walked up the path still wearing my tailored suit. Shoes clicking against the stone when I caught it, the sharp, acrid scent of burning wood. Not the sweet whiff of a neighbor's fireplace, but the nasty smell of damp logs, and maybe even plastic. I stopped with the key halfway to the lock, heart thudding. My first thought was something's on fire. I jogged around the house, shoes sinking in the grass, and that's when I saw it. There on my backyard lawn, the one I spent thousands to maintain, was a whole camping setup like some budget outdoor festival. A rusty fire pit belching smoke. A bright blue tent pitched right next to my prize hydrangeas. Chip bags strewn across the grass cooler tipped over. And sitting by the fire like they were roasting marshmallows at a state park was a family I had never seen in my life. There was a woman, late 50s maybe, with that stiff helmet of bleached blonde hair that looked like it could stop a bullet. Her fleece jacket and leggings made her look like she was settling in for the weekend. Next to her sat a heavy-set man in a stained tank top and denim shorts holding a can of beer radiating permanent dissatisfaction. Between them, a kid, 10, 11 at most, was poking the fire with a stick like this was the best day of summer camp. I froze, still holding my briefcase, trying to process. I cleared my throat and said, "Excuse me. I think you might be on the wrong property. This is my backyard." The woman squinted, looked me up and down from my polished shoes to my face, then smirked. She turned to her husband and said loud enough for the whole block to hear, "Look, honey." The neighborhood sent their token to make sure the fire's up to code. That word token hit me like a slap. She wasn't just mistaken. She was declaring I didn't belong. Her husband just grunted and took a long swig from his can, never even acknowledging me. The kid kept jabbing the embers eyes wide like he was watching a stranger trespass on their vacation spot. I folded my arms, trying to stay calm. "Ma'am, this isn't a campground. This is my property. You need to pack up and leave." She barked a laugh. "Oh, is that what you call it, private property? We paid for this spot. Found it online, Freedom Stays USA. It's urban camping, totally legal." She waved a hand across my entire backyard like she was queen of the subdivision. I couldn't believe the audacity. The only time my yard's been online was when I bought this house 3 years ago. "That website scammed you. You need to go." That's when her husband finally looked up, small piggy eyes locking on me. His voice was a gravelly growl. "Lady said we have a right to be here." "You deaf?" I kept my voice even. "My hearing's fine. Your sense of direction isn't. You're trespassing." The woman jumped to her feet, hands on her hips. "We are a good family, just trying to have a vacation. And you," she jabbed a finger at me, "you think, because you wear a fancy suit, you can intimidate real people. We aren't moving." Her son finally looked at me, frightened and confused, already absorbing her poison. That was the moment I realized this wasn't going to end peacefully. I told her flatly, "This is your last chance. Leave now or I call the police." That word flipped a switch. Her face twisted into mock horror. She clutched her chest. "The police, you're threatening us, in front of my child." Then she whipped out her phone and with crocodile tears streaming dialed 911. I stood there in disbelief as she told the dispatcher, "Help us, we're being harassed by a large, aggressive man in a suit." I'm terrified for my son." She gave them my address. Her husband smirked at me over her shoulder. They knew exactly what they were doing. Within minutes, red and blue lights strobed across my lawn. 2 cops came jogging into the yard, hands brushing their holsters. One was older, tired eyes, mustache. The other young, rigid, fresh out of the academy. They looked at the campfire, the crying woman, the kid, and then at me, the lone black man in a suit with folded arms. The script had already been written by her 911 call. The older one asked, "Everything okay here?" Before I could open my mouth, she ran to him like he was a lifeline. "Officer, thank God. He threatened us. Said he'd force us out. We're just camping here legally." The younger cop stepped between us. "Sir, what are you doing here?" The absurdity nearly broke me. What am I doing? This is my home. My yard. They're trespassing. I pointed to the 2-story house just feet away, lights on a dress, clearly visible. They didn't buy it. The rookie asked for ID like I was a suspect. I slowly pulled my wallet, every move exaggerated, because his hand twitched near his gun. I handed over my license. The older cop studied it, looked at my door, looked back at me. Still doubt. Karen shrieked, "That proves nothing. He's a squatter, probably tricked someone out of their house. Ask him something about the property, only the owner would know." The older cop actually humored her. He pointed at a garden gnome by the rose bush. "What's that one's name?" I blinked. "Clint. Clint Eastwood. Because he looks like he's telling people to get off the lawn." For the first time, I saw his eyes soften. He knew no squatter knows a gnome's joke name. But Karen wasn't done. Her husband pulled out his phone, announced that county records showed my house was owned by an LLC, Albright Holdings. Technically true. I'd put it in an LLC for liability. They spun it like proof I wasn't the owner. I'd had enough. My laptop's inside. I'll show you every record, the deed, LLC documents, utilities, all in my name. The cops hesitated, then escorted me in. I logged in, pulled up everything. Property records, business registry, mortgage statements. My name everywhere. They finally believed me. When we stepped back outside, Karen's face collapsed. She screamed at them, demanded they arrest me. That's when salvation arrived. Mrs. Gable, my elderly neighbor in her pink robe and slippers. She peered over the hedge, eyes sharp as razors. "Officers, I've lived here 45 years. This man is my neighbor. He bought this house from the Hendersons 3 years ago, and my Ring camera has recorded this entire fiasco, including her calling him a token." The air changed instantly. The cops straightened. Karen went pale. Her husband muttered about conspiracies, but even he looked deflated. The sergeant delivered the verdict: pack up or be arrested, and their kid goes to protective services. Chad puffed his chest, trying to intimidate. The rookie's hand hovered over his weapon. Karen finally cracked, dragging him back, shrieking, "Think about our son." They packed up in a storm of sighs, ripping my lawn with their tent stakes, dumping hot ashes on the grass, glaring at me like I was the criminal. When they finally loaded into their rusty van, Karen pointed a shaking finger at me. "You haven't heard the last of this." Then they peeled off police cars, escorting them away. I stood in the silence, my backyard scarred with ash and trash, my chest tight with rage and relief. Mrs. Gable gave me a small nod. "The truth needs witnesses," she said, then slipped back inside. I thought it was over. But the next morning, my sister texted me a screenshot. Karen had posted a rant on Facebook, spinning the story into me being a violent squatter who threatened her child. She even posted my address. Strangers flooded the comments with hate. My stomach dropped. I fought back with my own post, calm, factual, with proof. Friends and colleagues rallied, posting pictures from my barbecues. Then Mrs. Gable dropped her comment like a hammer, that she'd witnessed it all, that her Ring footage backed me up, and that spreading lies online is illegal. Her words went viral. The story hit the news. Karen doubled down, even filed a ridiculous lawsuit claiming I discriminated against her. But the tide turned when I released my own camera footage, clear audio of her calling me a token, clear shots of me calmly asking them to leave. Overnight, the internet roasted them. Chad lost his job, their GoFundMe was deleted, even the HOA backpedaled from blaming me. Eventually, their lawyer quit. They withdrew their lawsuit, and we settled with a gag order and damages paid. My yard healed the stone patio I dreamed of finally got built, and Mrs. Gable and I now share tea every week. But the truth is, my sense of safety never fully returned. Every creak in the night makes me glance at my cameras. I won the battle, but the cost was heavy. And yet, the one thought that lingers is how fragile it all was. How if I hadn't had proof, if my neighbor hadn't stepped in, if I had lost my cool for even a second, the outcome could have been catastrophic. One woman looked at me and decided I didn't belong in my own backyard, and that was enough to nearly ruin my life. So I'll ask you, was justice really served here, or did I just get lucky? What do you think should happen to people who weaponize lies and the system against others? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear how you see it. And if you've ever had your own neighborhood nightmare, share it, because stories like this remind us all just how thin the line is between peace and chaos.